One of my pioneers, one of my dedicated viewers left a really good comment to a post that I put out about 2 weeks ago at the time of this recording. That opens up the door to give great context on how to have better success when applying for credit cards with major banks, any financial institution, but especially major banks like Chase Bank, American Express, Bank of America, how they view you, the data points they're looking at that you may know about, but one particular data point that they're assessing that you may not be paying attention to that's not necessarily scored as much on your credit report. And this is intended to give you a better success rate when applying for credit cards, especially those quality ones, the best rewards, the best travel perks, etc. And this is going to be one of those semi-hidden details that I think a lot of people are misperceiving. And my pioneer in his comment I'm going to read shortly shows that there's a misconception about, credit, how it's used, at what scale and scope it should be used, and the lens that banks are looking at when they're taking your credit card applications. Credit card applications are extremely unique applications because there's a constant use case for that product. It's a spending tool underneath everything. So unlike a home loan, unlike business loans, etc., credit cards are being gauged by a lot more data points because they need you to consistently, use this product and use it effectively and pay it back effectively. So this comment is going to, I think, answer a question that a lot of you, or clear confusion a lot of you may be having out there. And that's the reason I chose to shoot a video on it. So for those of you who may not know, just really quickly, I'm JP, the founder and architect of the channel, Blueprint for Prosperity Network. The movement is money, muscle, and momentum. Essentially, I'm trying to help you maximize your banking relationships and then maximize your borrowing capacity so you can customize your blueprint for prosperity. Along the way of that journey, credit cards are going to be an extremely useful tool along the way to building bank relationships and maximizing your borrowing capacity and maximizing your credit score. So again, this is going to give you some context on credit overall, but really useful with credit card applications, whether that's fresh credit card applications or credit limit increases as well. So stay tuned to this. Let me get into the comment, and then I'm going to give you some really important context around the confusion that you'll find in this comment. So this is coming from one of my most dedicated viewers on the channel. It's P&R Connected LLC. And I want to shout out to you, my guy, for staying dedicated, staying focused, staying tuned in with the channel, and dedicating the time for yourself to get the information and the wisdom that's put out in these videos. So shout out to you. Just got denied for my third Chase business card. They basically said I don't spend enough, too much available credit. I thought you were supposed to apply when you don't need it. So this is a very insightful comment feedback because almost all of us have probably heard the adage, and if you haven't, you're hearing it now, it's best to apply for credit when you don't need it. Don't wait until you need it to apply. That adage is absolutely true, but it's vague. And I can tell from this comment, there's a big misconception about, what's defined as applying without needing the credit. So my guy P&R Connected apparently has been attempting to crack the code on Chase Business Inc. cards for a minute and been running into the same issue, or maybe he's going after his third card and he successfully has the first two, rather. And you can comment down below when you catch this video, P&R. But essentially running into a scenario where you're not showing enough spend on the cards that you have in order to justify an additional card. I'm gonna give you maybe three. I'm gonna try to keep it down to three major reasons why this is a problem for banks. Before I do that, I want to give you some quick clarity about credit as a whole. A lot of confusion around credit because we're in a society that, understandably by human nature, sees credit and debt as bondage, which it technically can definitely function as if you're not careful. Credit and debt can also be and is liberation at the same time. It's all about how you use it. I've said in many videos and many other, smart, in-depth financial professionals as well as content creators have covered the same. But around 90% of the world's money is credit. I know a lot of people in our society have a bad niche about being attached to cash and, wanting to be debt-free is like the major goal, etc. And the financial system doesn't reward either one very well, to be completely honest. Now, psychologically, it feels phenomenal. I don't owe anybody anything. And if you get a decent income source coming in without any debt, you can really feel, even 50, 60, 70, 80 grand a year can feel phenomenal when you don't owe anybody anything. And I understand it. I'm not saying it's a bad goal to be debt-free at all. But I am going to teach you, as I teach on this channel very frequently, that debt is credit and debt is literally the lifeblood of the entire economic system and the basis to commerce around the world. Without credit and debt, a lot of the advancements and the developments of our societies today, especially if you're in like the modern Western world, would not exist. And I mean that right down to the roads that are paved, the, connected, universal water systems, electrical systems. I'm talking about bare necessities. I'm not even getting into the weeds on all of the products on the grocery shelves. Like Walmart, literally like 80% of their products is off credit before, and then they sell it and they pay it back. Just to give you context, the entire world around you, literally 90+% of the money that contributed to the world around you is credit based. And the foundation to it is that as long as that credit is productive and paid back, the system keeps growing. And that is exactly what is incentivized in the system. One of the greatest, incentivizing portions of our system, believe it or not, is the federal tax code. You will hear the Robert Kiyosaki's, the Tom Wheelwrights. You'll hear some of these prominent, and successful investors and even, tax strategists and professionals tell you and clarify it's a reward system. It's not a penalty system. They're laying out where they want you to participate, where and how to participate in the economy, what to invest in, how to invest. And one of the central focus points that they incentivize in the tax code is credit. You will notice you get almost no deductions on your home if it's paid off. Most of the deductions are centered around you having a mortgage on the property. The same thing goes for real estate investing. Some of the greatest deductions, besides depreciation of the property itself, so the materials and the, structure itself, being able to be written off, the next greatest portion is going to be the mortgage interest and stuff like that, or the loan itself. So I'm saying all that to say that the financial system penalizes you for being a saver, and it penalizes you for not participating in the credit system. You will pay the most taxes. You will lose out to inflation. You will miss out on investment opportunities and opportunity costs, etc. Where does this all tie back to credit cards and having better success with credit card applications? Simply put, my guy PNR, as many of you I'm sure out there are confused on, when they say apply for credit when you don't need it, don't wait till you need it to apply. What they're emphasizing, and what I'm emphasizing when I say that, is having the financial means to have done it in cash, or as close to in cash as possible. Credit cards are the best example of that, because if you're using them the most effectively, then you're only spending money that you have to spend, and you're just using another medium of exchange to make those purchases. You're not really using credit card for debt. That's why I always say credit cards are a spending tool that happens to have a leverage or debt component to it. You're using somebody else's money, but you're really only supposed to be using it for things you already had the money to purchase: gas, groceries, clothes, travel, basic everyday expenses. And you're just using another medium of exchange that allows businesses to have a broader base of access to their products. So giving, us an easier medium of exchange to purchase their products, and the companies that provide that medium of exchange to be able to make a little bit per transaction themselves. So the confusion lies in you not spending or showing healthy credit activity is actually a bad thing. As you can see, my guy's getting denied. And some of you probably are doing the same thing. Inactivity is not what they're talking about when they say, apply when you don't need it. That is not the same thing as being inactive. There's a few problems with you being inactive. Number one, no matter how big and deep the pockets of banks and financial institutions are, they don't have infinite credit to put out in the system. So when they extend credit, they have to be tedious who it goes to that's going to use it and pay it back. Remember what I said a few minutes ago in the video about credit works when you use it productively and pay it back. The entire financial system works. That's why 2008 happened to us, because essentially it was a lot of leverage with a lot of individuals that the item originally was productive, but at some point things shifted and triggered and people couldn't pay it back, and the dominoes started to fall. So what that basically means with credit card applications, it's not really gauged as much on your credit report. This isn't going to necessarily impact your score per se. as far as like not having a lot of usage. I mean, it gives you a lower utilization, and that's a great thing. But you can accomplish the low utilization and still spend like crazy by just when you pay the card off, right? So credit card companies, number one, there's not an infinite line. Number two, you're not showing that you're going to be useful or profitable. You need to use the credit. That's the whole point of it. It's not there to just sit. It's not your cash. It's not there to sit. When you get extended credit, they want to see you put it to use. Put it out in this marketplace and expand and keep this economy going. That is what you're doing. Your little microcosm and micro economy that you're in, when you get a credit card, that is what you're doing. You're playing your small role in keeping the entire financial system going. So they don't have an infinite line. So they need it to go in the hands of productive people that will be productive and pay it back. Number two, you're not showing that you're going to be profitable because most all credit card companies are making a bulk of their money off interchange fees. And then after that is interest and other fees. But interchange fees is like the heartbeat largely of profitability for these credit card companies. So they need it to be in your hands as you swipe away. That's number two. Number three is you're eliminating the ability for that financial institution, that lender, that credit card issuer to be able to gauge your behavior financially. If you're not using the credit that you already have, amongst the other couple of things I named, I also don't have a lot of data points to be able to tell if you can handle the credit. You're not using it for me to know. So I can't see the activity level on the cards I've already issued you to justify another card. I'm not going to extend this $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to you to sit on at 1% and 2% usage when I got somebody else over here who will use 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%. And we're going to make 5, 10, 20x the interchange fees and anything else we earn than we could if we extended it to you. So I hope that makes sense to you. You need to understand that applying for credit when you don't need it means I have the financial means. When I put down on my application, I have good, stable income. I have a great surplus. I have a great DTI. I got assets if they ask me for it in the background. I might have good retirement accounts. I have real estate I own, whatever, a good stock portfolio. I have the means to do this out of cash. I am choosing to use leverage. That is what banks are looking for. That is the pinnacle of apply when you don't need it, not when you're desperate and you're in desperate need or need it. When you're, especially credit cards, because they're a persistent use case. It's not a one-time mortgage. It's not a one-time business loan. It's not a one-time auto loan. You're using credit cards ideally on a daily or weekly basis, and you're paying them off on a monthly basis, starting over. So credit card companies in particular are going to be extremely tedious about activity levels. And if they have the perfect gauge, which is an existing card already to go off of, if I already gave you $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 and you're only using 3 to 5% of that on a regular basis, trying to play it conservative, the hell with extending you the next $20,000 or $30,000 when I got somebody else over here who's going to use 20, 30, 40, 50% and still pay me back. I'm going to make way more money. It makes no sense. I don't have an infinite line. As deep as their pockets are, they don't have an infinite line. And they don't know if you start to use that card more consistently, if you're going to be responsible with it, because you don't give them the data points to prove it. So the big three is not infinite pockets. That money is limited. It needs to go in productive hands. You're not showing profitability, and there's not enough data to show your risk level. Yeah, you're showing that you're low risk by no usage, but that's not the goal. So you're counterproductive for them. I need you to be profitable as possible, and I need you to still be able to prove that you have the ability to pay me back or the means to pay me back if push comes to shove. So you need to check those off simultaneously, not in opposition to each other. PNR Connected and all of my viewers, I hope you caught this and got the value out of this. I made it as plain as I can. Applying and stacking up credit when you don't need it is not the same as inactivity. It is not the same thing. Please do not get that confused going any further. You absolutely want to, if you want credit limit increases, high credit limits, and new approvals, you absolutely want to show high levels of activity, relatively high levels of activity that you can handle. That's why they say use the card at a high level and pay it off. That's the secret sauce. 30, 40, 50% utilization, pay it off. 40, 50, 60, 70% utilization, pay it off or pay big chunks towards it. They don't want you to run up 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% and sit at those levels. That's not good. They don't want you to turn around and run up 2, 3, 4, 5% and pay that off or let that report and you don't use any more of it. I then extended you all this credit and you needed a fraction of it. I could have put this money to use somewhere else. I don't give a damn how deep banks' pockets are. The financial system is incentivized for activity, period. Don't forget that when you're applying for your credit cards and you're putting information down on your credit applications and you're unintentionally or unconsciously demonstrating or painting a picture through usage on existing cards. They're paying attention, obviously. And if you're not showing healthy activity and healthy repayment schedules, I assure you, you will continue to get denied. Comment down below and let me know what your experience has been around what I covered in this video. Have you noticed that you get better success when you're using your cards frequently and paying them off frequently? Have you also run into denials yourself, like my pioneer, by not having enough use case? Even though your credit may be great, your score is great, your profile is great, you're still running into denials or very limited or low limits. Comment down below and let me know your experiences. To all my pioneers, welcome back. To my new viewers, welcome in. I want each of you to like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel so this channel can continue to grow and support you. I want you to drop in the description down below if you want to tie in with me on Instagram. Also, there's an opportunity down below for you to drop in a link and work with me one-to-one. If you want somebody in your corner with this same knowledge and skill set, holding your hand and walking you through your financial journey so you can maximize your banking relationships, maximize your borrowing capacity, and be more effective with the financial tools that you have available to you, get in the description down below. Other than that, as always, I want each and every one of you to stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon.